Ah. Anyone else try to teach themselves a new language? It's not easy. It's not easy. But you know what is easy? Boom! Getting excited about the brand new Kill Team expansion! That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The brand new expansion for Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team Pariah Nexus is coming to you, and I've got an advanced copy to get an insight into what's coming and show you guys what there is to be excited about. So I've already done an unboxing so you can see all of the different models that are going to be inside of it, and go check it out. It's already on the channel. You can check it out. Just showing you all the awesome models that are coming in it, and all of the scenery and the new boards. And there's a lot of new stuff in here, so I didn't go over the rules in that one. That's what this video is about. So we're going to go through here and check out everything that they've got inside of here that they've got coming out, which is very exciting, very exciting. They've done some adjustments to the ultra close confines, the ultra skirmish close confines skirmish rules. They've also got some new stratagems and some new rules for everyone. They've got access now to the rules to play and kill team with all the a bunch of the new models from Indomitus. It's very exciting stuff, and I'm excited to bust into here and check it out. So let's check it out here. So we've got the table of contents here, getting an idea of what's going on here, and they've got a bunch of different information and introduction to what's going on. They talk about the setting of the Pariah Nexus, which is really awesome. They also go through, as you can see here, close confines. So they've got the ultra close confines, what they talk about it, the rules for it, the confines tactics. They've got the kill zones for the different for the different boards. So that comes with a board that's double-sided, like they have with all of the kill team boards, which is pretty cool. It's really high detailed, and it's really kind of a cool idea. They've also got some new things on this board that they haven't had in previous boards, and even previous of the close confines ones. So like ones from Arena or from whatchamacallit, the Rogue Trader book. So they've got some new changes to it, which is pretty cool, and some new things on the board, which is exciting. So we're going to get into all of this, and it goes through all of the different stuff that they have, different ways to play. It also goes through all the new things with Kill Team, so they've got additional rules. They've also got commanders. They've got this bunch of rules for the datasheets for all the different Space Marines that you have access to, including all the old ones. So they've got datasheets in here for like scouts and tactical Marines and all of that fun stuff, as well as all of the ones for the Necrons as well. So this book here, if you're trying to get into Kill Team, this is the one that you will need. This will be good, so you don't really have to get like the elites one, because this has like a lot of the information for all of the ones that you can have access to for them in here. So which is pretty interesting to see it going forward. So let's start to get through here. Like I said, there's like a lot of really cool backstory and beautiful art as always. Man, that's such a cool, like they've been knocking it out of the park with a lot of the art that they've been having going on here in 8th edition stuff. I know not all of it's super new, but I've just been super excited. It always looks really rad, and they just talk about all the different stuff that's going on here. They talk about the different places, like the Translocum Chamber, which is one of the boards that they have access to. Domain of the Dead. So the different ways of talking about this stuff. Then they go into like the crypt of Sinosure. We're gonna go with that. Whatever it is, you can see what it is there. And then let's go into what they've got here. So close confines. This is basically like the other way that they've had, where you playing on a board that's supposed to represent something that's like indoors or underground with like labyrinth and kind of things like that. So it's not actual line of sight on the board itself, but that's a lot of the line of sight is represented by the board. So they've got different lines on there for things like the walls. You also have the scenery that you're going to use, which comes with this box set that has the ability to provide all of the obscuring and doors that you can open and close. So it's pretty kind of cool stuff that they have going on here. So let's start going through it. So a lot of the ultra close confines rules are the same thing, like they have here, where the walls block line of sight, that you can't fight through walls, that you measure around walls, you can't measure through walls. So if you have, say, a 6-inch aura, it doesn't go through walls. You actually have to go around a corner to get towards them. So it's basically how you could walk is how the aura would work. So they kind of point that out over here. Same thing, that even if you have fly, you can't fly through walls. Obscured, if you're partially obscured with the model with the wall part, again, it still works to do this. They've changed a little bit with doors. For those of you who have played with these close confines rules before, is that they no longer have it where you can hold the door shut. It doesn't. I don't see that anywhere on here talking about it. So it looks like that's been removed. They've also added things called choke points, which are basically areas, as you can see here, that are supposed to make you more vulnerable to being shot. To basically, it's like you're running down a corridor with no cover as you run down here. So essentially what happens is there's these new markings that are on the boards, which are called the firing points. And if your model is touching one of these firing points and is firing at a model that it draws line of sight through its firing arc, which is on every single one, they pointed out from the marking on the board. If it goes through its firing arc on that in that choke point, you get a +1 to hit, which is pretty exciting, pretty cool. It would help you, if you move with a heavy weapon or whatever it is, you can do this, which is pretty cool. So that's a new, different take on the way things work. Mostly, it's only going to work with the boards that they have in this, but I'm sure they're going to come out with other ones because otherwise, why create a whole new thing there? They also have spatial lacerators and pitfalls. So spatial lacerators are something that allows you to play, which will be further talked about in page 32 and 33. But it's something in there for in some of the narrative effects presented that you can play with, but otherwise it doesn't affect anything in the actual game. But you do have pitfalls now, which are markings, spaces on the board, which do not block line of sight, but you cannot move through them, over them, or land on them. Unless you have fly, then you can move through them, but you cannot finish your movement on top of one of these pitfalls. They basically represent like giant, craters or whatever. They giant like pits that go through wherever you're fighting there. They've also made some rules here. So there's the general rules with concentrated radius. When determining the number of attacks for a ranged weapon that has a random value, such as heavy D6, roll 1 additional dice for the same type and discard 1. For example, if you have for an assault 2d6 weapon, roll 1 additional d6 and discard 1 of them. Or for an assault d3 weapon, roll 1 additional d3 and discard 1. So essentially, if you've got d3 shots or like a flamer who has like d6 hits, you would roll 2d6 and take the highest, which is pretty cool. I guess technically you could take the lowest if you wanted to, but I don't know why you would. Then you have close quarters here, which is when models make an attack with a ranged weapon, do not apply the hit roll modifier for the target model being at long range. So there's no long range in close confines battles, which is kind of cool and interesting. Makes shooting pretty brutal. You also have no escape, which when a model makes an attack with a melee weapon against an enemy model that is within 1 inch of a wall, door, terrain feature, or pitfall, the attacking model can gain an advantage. Draw an imaginary straight line from the center of the attacking model's base to the edge of the game board, passing through the center of the target's base. If that line then touches a wall, door, terrain feature, or pitfall within 1 inch of the target, add 1 to the injury roll. So you get +1 to injury rolls if they've got a wall or a pitfall or an obstacle within an inch of their back. So basically meaning that they can't like move back to avoid a killing blow or something like that, which is kind of cool. So +1 to injury rolls for that, making close combat even worse, more dangerous. And then you have command nodes, which is a battlefield. Each battlefield will have 1 objective marker that is also a command node. This is an area of tactical importance, such as a data terminal, communications array, or command station. Starting with the second battle round, a player gains 1 command point if they control the command node objective marker, and they can also use access override tactics, which we'll get into in a second. Then they have the regular ones. So scouting do not use the scouting phase in the close confine ones, which is, honestly, when I play, I don't usually use the scouting phase. Then you have objective markers. When determining who controls the objective marker, when determining who controls an objective marker, rather than determining the number of models, each player totals the wounds characteristic of models from their kill team within 2 inches of the objective marker. The player with the highest total controls the objective marker. So it's total number of wounds now as opposed to models for ultra close confines battles. And you also have Battleforge kill teams cannot be more than 14 models as opposed to the 20 for normal kill team. And deployment, unless otherwise specified in the mission being played during a deployment, a player cannot set up any of their models outside of their own deployment zone. So no longer having inceptors or not inceptors, incursors and stuff like that, but going outside of the deployment zone in ultra close confines, because with those 9 inches, it became very difficult to keep them out of your deployment zone or keep them at a decent distance away. So so that's pretty cool. Different changes there. There's some slight changes to the way that close confines battles have been fought and the way Kill Team usually fights, but it's still pretty exciting stuff. I like it. I think a lot of the rules are pretty cool. I think it's very, very flavorful and very fluffy and very thematic, with the idea of being stuck in these labyrinths down underneath of an enemy base and stuff like that. So pretty cool stuff. And if you're playing ultra close confines games, you then have access to the ultra close confines tactics. So you have everything from one command point for sure footing. Use this tactic in the movement phase when you pick a model to advance. Until the end of the phase, when making an advance roll for the model, roll 1 additional d6 and discard 1 of the dice. So basically, you can roll 2d6 and take the highest when you advance, which is, I mean, in a lot of situations, very critical, especially if you're trying to hop onto an objective, which is kind of cool. For 1 CP, not bad. You've got Barge Through for 1 CP. Use this tactic in the movement phase when you pick a model to make a normal move or to advance. Until the end of the phase, that model can move within 1 inch of enemy models and can move through other models, but must end its move more than 1 inch away from all enemy models and not overlapping another model at its base. So basically, I like that one a lot. For 1 CP, I can see that becoming very handy when you're going through and just busting through the enemy, so they can't, your opponent can no longer just like sit in like a choke point and keep you from being able to get out of your deployment zone or out of an area. They can't like lock you in. You could just bust through all of them and just be like coming through, and then just drop your shoulder and bang through, or slide through if you're a slippery Eldar or something like that. I don't know why I said slippery Eldar, but whatever. You can just like bust your way through and then get to the other side. But you have to be outside, so you can't. It doesn't count as a charge. You can't put yourself into combat, into engagement range. You have to be outside of an inch of the enemy models at the end, and you can't be overlapping any other model's base for the move. So if you can't actually physically get through and out of 1 inch of there, then you can't use that tactic to go through. Then we have Axis Override, which is the one that was spoken of before with the command nodes. Use this tactic at the end of the movement phase if you control an objective marker that is a command node. You can open 1 door on the battlefield. So that's probably kind of cool if your opponent is like hiding behind a door and you've got your sniper like looking down the hallway and they're just not opening that door. You hold a command node and all of a sudden you're like, boop, the door opens, and then they pop off their shot, get a shot, which is pretty cool. Determined Leap here for 1 CP. Use this tactic in the movement phase when you pick a model from your kill team to move. Roll 1d6. On a 2, that model can move up to 2 inches across a pitfall during its move that phase. On a 3+, it can move up to 3 inches across a pitfall during its move that phase. This does not increase the distance a model is allowed to move. So it basically, you can jump across some of these pitfalls, which is kind of cool. So you're not necessarily locked in. Or if you feel like you're locked in and you need a quick escape, you can just leap across there. Or if you're trying to pursue someone, you can leap across, which is kind of cool. For 1 CP. A lot of these are all seem to be 1 CP, so they're not game breaking. They're just kind of cool tactical things that you can use. See Them Coming for 1 CP. Ultra Close Confines tactic. Use this tactic when a model from your kill team is declared as a target of a charge and is chosen to fire Overwatch. If the charging model is not obscured from the point of view of your model, when your model fires Overwatch at the charging model this phase, they successfully hit if the result is equal to or greater than their ballistic skill characteristic, with a -1 to hit modifier in addition to any other hit roll modifiers. So instead of just on 6s, you've got a -1 to hit with your full ballistic skill when firing, as long as they're not obscured when you're firing the Overwatch, because you see them just like running down a hallway without any cover there, and you're like, okay, well, you just open up fire is what they allow. So pretty cool for 1 CP. I can see that being very successful, especially if you got a shooty army. So Tau, I'm sure, going to be very happy about that. Then you've got Point Blank Overwatch for 1 CP. Use this tactic in the movement phase when an enemy model ends a charge move within 1 inch of a model from your kill team. If that model from your kill team was able to make a reaction as part of that charge and chose not to, that model can now make a charge reaction, even though there is an enemy model within 1 inch. That model may not retreat as part of that charge reaction and cannot make use of the See Them Coming tactic. Note that any Overwatch attacks made as part of this reaction must be made against that enemy model. So it's they've had point blank Overwatch before, which is basically you can fire Overwatch at any point when they're coming, like during their movement, or during their charge movement. But you would have to pay it before they made their charge, and they can make the decision not to move into a place where you could shoot them and you still lost the CP. So now you use it after they've made a successful charge into you. So it basically just makes it so you don't have to waste CP on the possibility of using Overwatch. So pretty cool. I like it. Still 1 CP, so that's pretty good. But it makes it easier so you don't have to waste it in case they don't make the charge and then don't go around that corner and you never see them and never get to shoot them, because previously you would waste your CP that way. Then we have Covered Doorway. Use this tactic in the movement phase when an enemy model opens a door. Pick a readied model from your kill team within 8 inches of that door and draw an imaginary line between the two models. If that line passes through the doorway, that model can immediately shoot as if it were your turn in the shooting phase, but all of the attacks it makes must target the enemy model that opened the door. So that's pretty cool. So basically, you just they open up the door, and instead of getting the chance to if you readied your models outside the door, and they open up the door, instead of them giving the chance now to charge through and make it so you can't shoot with your models that have been ready to shoot, you can pop off a shot and kill someone, which is kind of cool. I like these. I like all of them. Like I said, none of them are game breaking. They do change some of the tactics, the way you play them, and I like that. I like the change to point blank Overwatch. Because wasting CP on something that just doesn't happen is not fun. Like using a CP and it not working, whatever, that's fine. That's part of the game. But using a CP on something that just never could happen and it just was a preemptive thought, it's feel bad. So this changed a little feel bad situation and took it away, which is pretty cool. All right, so let's talk about Killzone Crypt of Sinashur. So you've got you can roll here on the environment table. You roll a d6 with them. And you have 1 hazardous conduit flares. When a model advances, it cannot move on or through a Starclave Conduit. So when you can't run through a Starclave Conduit. So Starclave Conduit is, what is it? B. So over these, like the blue lines that they have here, I think it's going to be on one of the maps here. You can't run through it or over it, but only if you advance. It cannot move. When a model advances, it cannot move on or through a Starclave Conduit. So interesting. Then you have dimensional flints feedback. At the start of each battle round, roll 1d6 to randomly determine 1 spatial lacerator on the game board. Roll 1d6 for each model within 2 inches of the center of that spatial lacerator. On a 5+, the model suffers 1 mortal wound. So those were the ones we talked about previously, the spatial lacerators. Oh, no. I think spatial lacerators might be... I think those might be, what are they? I think there's some of the models, I think they were, right? Did we talk about them? Were they the ones we had talked about previously? Let's see. Spatial lacerators, yeah. So those are the markings that we talked about on the spatial lacerators, the markings on the board itself that you have there. Or no, I think these ones, I think, are the spatial lacerators. So those ones are the ones that would pop up for this. So this is what it's talking about, like the different things that you could narratively choose to have happen in there. You have energy discharge. While a model is on the circuit of entropic anguish, it has a 5+ invulnerable save. If it already had an invulnerable save, improve that save by 1 to a maximum of 3+. In addition, when an injury roll is made for a model on the circuit of entropic anguish, add 1 to the result. +1 to injury rolls if you're on there, but you get a 5+ invul save. So pretty good. Or, I mean, something to work with there. So this is the circle there that's on the board that they have. Then you have active kill field augmentation. When resolving an attack made by a ranged weapon, if the attacking model is benefiting from a firing point, add 1 to any injury roll made for that attack. So +1 to injury rolls from the firing points that we talked about previously. Pretty cool. And then thermionic and annuli vivisectors. Oof, man, easy to say. Before the battle, place a number of thermonic annuli on the game board as shown opposite. When resolving the attack made with the melee weapon against a model within 1 inch of a thermionic annulus, add 1 to the wound roll. So +1 to wound with the annulus there. So that's one of the terrain pieces that come with the game board here. So pretty cool. Just having a lot of really fun stuff that you can that helps you change the way you play. And then you've got the Translocum Chamber, which is the other side of the board here. The different results that you can have here on the environment table. One would be while a model is on the Aeon phasic control dais, it has a 5+ invulnerable save against attacks made in the shooting phase. So Aeonic control dais would be B, so that's the thing in the middle there. Power Flux, which is number 2. At the start of each battle round, roll 1d6 on a 4+. The Petrific Divisors activate. Until the end of the battle round, models cannot move on or through the Petrific Divisors. In addition, if a model is already on a Petrific Divisor when it activates, that model cannot move that battle round. So what are the Petrific Divisors? Would be C. So that's these things over here, those little T marks there. Then you have Hyperactive Energy Cycle. Oh no, Operational Displacement. The Spatial Lacerators rule is in effect for this battle, which is on the previous page 32, which I guess we'll get to. In addition, at the start of each battle round, if a player has any models within 1 inch of the Aeon phasic control dais and their opponent does not, that player can choose which 2 spatial lacerators are selected instead of determining them randomly. That'll probably make more sense in a second when we get to it. Then you have Hyperactive Energy Cycle. Hyperflay arteries are considered terrain features for the purpose of no escape rule, which is kind of cool. So the Hyperflay arteries, which are A, so that's these things, these blue things over here. So those count as, like we talked about with the walls and things like that. So I guess they wouldn't normally count towards that, so they wouldn't be normal obstructions or things like that. But when that's activated, they do count for it. Then you have Internal Pressure Shift. Subtract 1 from advanced rolls and charge rolls for models within 2 inches of a pitfall. Then you have Thermionic Annuli Transducer Field. Before the battle, place a number of Thermionic Annuli on the game board, as shown opposite. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon against a model within 1 inch of a Thermionic Annuli, add 1 to the wound roll. So again, pretty cool stuff there. All right, so then they have the Ultra Close Confines missions. These are essentially, I think, very much like playing with the Arena game. So if you've played with Arena, I believe that's what these are. On the following page, you will find a selection of Pariah Nexus objectives to use for the match play missions presented in Killzone Pariah Nexus. These objectives provide a variety of mission parameters for you to complete and allow you to tailor your mission goals to better suit your battle plan and react to your enemy. Each player must secretly choose 3 Pariah Nexus objectives when mustering their kill team for the mission. Each objective will explain how and when victory points are scored, but each player can score no more than 3 victory points for each Pariah Nexus objective they have chosen. Any additional victory points they might gain from this objective are lost. Each mission offers 1 Pariah Nexus objective bespoke to the mission. This objective can be chosen instead of one of the following from the following page, but can only be chosen for that mission. Each of the player's Pariah Nexus objectives should be kept secret until they first score a victory point from them. At that point, the objective is revealed to their opponent, but any they have not yet scored a victory point from remains secret. So basically, these are like secondaries. So like they have now in regular 40K, so 9th edition. These are the secondaries that you can play with. So it's pretty fun. I like it a lot. Anyone who has played Arena knows what this is and has played with them. So it's a lot of fun to play with them. It makes for really interesting games. It just allows you to tailor the missions that you're trying to achieve to your army. So you're not left with a situation where you're like, well, my guys are no good at doing anything in this game, so I'm just going to be stuck here. This allows you to change it so you can choose ones that are going to work well. So if you have a shooting army, you can choose things to shoot. A close combat army, things to close combat. If you've got a bunch of bodies, maybe things that involve that. So it's a lot of fun to be able to go over them. I'm not going to go through all of them here, but it's basically the same thing as with the Arena, which is really fun to do. Then they've got the match play missions and narrative play missions that they have going through here. So again, you can have different narrative effects, so environmental effects, you can have wall effects, you can have pitfall effects, You can have objective effects, and you can have terrain effects. So these are things that are optional that you can put in if you want to change how things operate, how things happen. Like here, wall. Let's go over number 2 on the wall effects. Dimensional destabilization. The model can move through walls when they advance, but cannot end their move within the wall. So basically, it's just the walls are kind of like phasing there. So if you advance, you can run through them. You can't just walk through them, you have to run through it. So basically you gotta get up some momentum to pop your way through there. Or like an objective effect here on 4 is erratic teleportation node. At the end of the movement phase, the players roll off. The winner randomly selects one objective marker and can then move each of their models that are within 3 inches of that objective marker up to 3 inches. Models can be moved within 1 inch of enemy models that way. Can be moved, so that's pretty cool. So these are just like different things. These are probably, again, narrative effects that you would want to play if you're doing a match play mission, or if you're really in a tournament or something. You're not going to see these things. But if you're just having fun with your friends and you just want to do it, you can do it. Either choose them or roll for them. So you have D6, D3s that you can go with that. So ton of fun stuff, the way to play with it. Then they've got the different match play objectives here. So you got this one, which is designed for the different tables, and they tell you the different deployment zones, and they also point out how to set up the board for the different ones, which is kind of cool. So again, Purge, they've got a bunch of different missions here, and essentially what you're going to have is you're going to have a victory, you're going to have a primary mission that you're going for, as well as the secondaries that you're trying to get there. So it's almost exactly like Kill Team Arena in that way. So pretty fun. This is kind of cool. They've got the different deployment zones that they've got going on there, which you have them in different corners, which is fun. But yeah, a lot of it is just kind of cool stuff that they've got here. A lot of different ways to play, a bunch of different missions, which is really awesome. I like that. It makes it a lot of fun. So yeah, he's got some cool stuff here with kill teams. You got additional rules. So you've got commanders. They talks about the commanders in there. Additional rules. Some models within this book feature rules not covered in the kill team core manual, which such as powerful model boosting auras and the ability to outflank your opponent. These can be found here. So they go through all the different stuff that you have available. So let's kind of go through this. So you've got your commander stuff here. They've just got new commander tactics and upgrades. They just talk about how to play with your commander's game. I still think you need the commander's expansion to play with it. Maybe? Yeah, I think so. I think you do. But it just gives you some more additional stuff here. So now you've got additional rules here. So you've got some aura tactics, like My Will Be Done here is an aura tactic that I think they can use in Necron Overlord. So you've got that stuff. You've got reserves. Can be found in any kill team, in any games of kill team, with the exception of missions that use the ultra close confines rules. So the rules found here can be used in any games of kill team, with the exception of missions that use the ultra close confines rules. So only ultra close confines rules can't be used with reserves. So yeah, basically no reserves in ultra close confines rules, but they just put them in here because that you can play with a lot of the different models the way they have it here, which is kind of cool and interesting in a way to play it. Cool painted with the new models that they come in here. So they got the heavy intercessor with the heavy bolter here, regular bolters for them. You've got the new captain in Gravis armor, which is pretty cool, with the gun as opposed to just the sword. Then you've got your backgrounds you can roll for your squads and your specialists and stuff like that. Got chapter tactics have been changed, or maybe they haven't changed. Let's check it out. I haven't checked it out. Nope. Dream Resolve is the same. Reroll hit rolls of 1 for shooting attacks made with models of your kill team, including Fire Overwatch when they have not moved in the battle round. In addition, you can reroll dice to determine whether or not your kill team is broken in the morale phase. Pretty cool. White Scars, model of kill team advances, add an additional 2 inches to the distance it can move. In addition, if a model in your kill team started the movement phase within 1 inch of an enemy model, but when you pick it to move, there are no enemy models within 1 inch, that model can make a charge attempt instead of falling back or remaining stationary. So that's pretty cool. You can't move and then shoot, but you can charge. I think a lot of these are the same. I don't think they've really changed much of these, but they've got their chapter tactics here. Basically, what they've done with this book is allowed it a way so you can play with your Space Marines and you can play with your Necrons without having to get much stuff. You probably want the core book because it has all of the main rules. This doesn't have the core rules inside of it. It just has the additional rules that you can play with. So basically, you don't need like the Elites book for Space Marines or Necrons. If you want to buy this, if you're doing Necrons or Space Marines, this will replace the Elites, I believe. It may not replace the what is it? The annual, the Kill Team annual, because that has all of the the command point stuff. What is it called? The stratagems that you can use in there. I don't think all the different stratagems are here. They've got some of the stratagems here, so they've got stuff like death to traitors, alchemite detonation, adaptive strategy, psychological warfare. So let's check out these ones. I think these are maybe new ones. Death to the traitors. Use this tactic when you choose a model from your kill team to fight in the fight phase until the end of that phase. Each time you make a hit roll of 6+ for that model and a target is a Heretic Astartes model, you can immediately make an extra attack against the same model using the same weapon. This attack cannot themselves generate any further attacks. Adaptive strategy. Use this tactic as soon as your kill team is broken. You immediately generate D3 command points. As soon as your kill team is broken. Oh, so as soon as you're broken, you get D3 command points for 1 command point, which is pretty cool. Alchemite detonation. Use this tactic at the end of the movement phase. Choose an alchemite stack that is within 1 inch of at least one model from your kill team and that is not shaken. At the end of the following movement phase, roll a dice for each model within 3 inches of that alchemite stack. On a 4+, the model suffers 1 mortal wound. Then remove the alchemite stack. Any models that were standing on that terrain are placed on the battlefield directly below where they were standing. That's for 2 CP. So basically, you just plant a bomb on an alchemite stack, which I believe are, again, some of the same thing that they've got going on with some of the terrain stuff that they have here. The psychological warfare. Use this tactic to start in the morale phase. Choose a Reaver from your kill team that took an enemy model out of action in the preceding fight phase and is not shaken. Add 1 to any nerve test that models this phase for any models within 6 inches of that model you choose. So adding 1 to nerve test for the enemy. So it's like you're just you're screaming at them that you just killed somebody. You got Hellfire Shells. Use this tactic when choose a model in your kill team to shoot with a heavy bolter. You can only make this a single hit roll with the weapon in this phase. However, if it hits, the target suffers D3 mortal wounds instead of the normal damage for 2 CP. And then you've got Jump Pack Assault. Use the tactic at the end of the movement phase. Choose up to 3 jump pack models from your kill team that were set up in reserve and set them up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 5 inches away from enemy models. Let's see what Deathwatch kill teams here. Mission tactics in the battle round. Choose at the beginning of the first battle round. Choose a data sheet from your kill team priority. You can reroll wound rolls of 1. Attacks made against models of the kill team of the target model. The data sheet, your kill team's priority target. So you choose Tyranid warriors. This ability would apply to targeted Tyranid warriors and Tyranid warrior gunners. So all of those ones. You got special issue ammunition, modifiers, an auto bolt rifle, bolt carbine, bolt pistol, bolt rifle, bolt gun, combi flamer, bolt gun profile only, combi melta, blah, 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 blah. All the bolters, heavy bolt pistol, stalker bolt rifle, stalker bolt pattern bolt gun, stalker pattern bolt gun, or storm bolter. You can choose one of the ammunition from the table and apply the corresponding modifiers. So you've got all the special issue ammunition you can do there. And then you got Aquila kill team. When you add an Adeptus Astartes model, excluding a scout, stern guard veteran, or tactical marine to your command roster and create its data card, you can choose for it to have the Deathwatch faction keyword instead of the Adeptus Astartes faction keyword. If you do so, it gains the special issue ammunition ability, but you must add the relevant additional point value opposite to the model's point value. So basically, you're just upgrading. Basically, it just allows you to take models that aren't the Adeptus Astartes models that are there. So basically, all the stuff is the same there, allowing them to play there. So maybe they've got all the different ones here. So Death Denied is back to 2 CP, which is, I know, we'll see if that gets FAQ'd again right away, if that was just a mistype or not. Otherwise, things seem to be pretty standard with all of their stuff here. Then you've got the one specifically for Deathwatch as well here, which is all of their fun stuff that they've got going on here. And then they've got their stuff. So they've got the captain with a mastercrafted heavy bolt rifle. And you got the captain in Gravis armor for the commanders as well. You got their psychic powers. All of the stuff is, I think, is pretty similar. I don't think much has changed with all these guys, but you do have a lot of HQ. So now you have stuff like you have the Judicare you have access to and stuff like that. So the Judicare still has an initial no fear, so reroll nerve test for this model. Blade parry. In the fight phase, the model has a 4+ invul save in the fight phase, which is pretty cool. And Tempora Mortis. At the beginning of the fight phase, you can pick a single enemy model within 3 inches of this model. That enemy model cannot fight until the fight for your lives section of the battle round, even if it charged this battle round. So if a model that charged it can't be chosen until the fight for your lives, which is the second part of the, so you have, you fight with the chargers, all the chargers, and then you go into the ones that haven't charged, which is the fight for your life phase at the end there. Basically, you just take away the charge bonus to any models. So you don't get to fight last. You don't have to fight last. You just have to fight after charges. So it's basically to take away the charge bonus for models. And then they've got transhuman physiology, which is the same for all of those. Watchmaster, all these guys here. Assault, Intercessors, Tactical Marine Scout, Infiltrator, Terminator, Suppressor, Vanguard Veteran. You got all the different regular stuff that you got here. You got Blade Guard Veterans now. You have access to them. So they've got their Storm Shield, add 1 to saving throws made for this model, excluding vulnerable saves. In addition, it has a 4+ invul save. That's the only special rule that they have going on there. They are 3 wounds, toughness 4, and they've got their 4-up, 3-up, which becomes a 2-up armor save with the Storm Shields. So pretty cool stuff there. You got the Heavy Intercessors here, which they've already shown all of the different stuff. So they've got the 3 wounds, tough 5, all that fun jazz with them. You got the Death Watch Veterans here. And they've got all their different weapons profiles that they can use here. And they've got all the different points that they've got for them here as well. So yeah, super fun stuff. And you can just play with all of the different, with all of the different, so you got the different points values for the weapons and all that stuff. So you're just adding it all together and making your dude bros. And then you've got your Necrons here, which is pretty exciting with all of them. You've got all of their background stuff that you can do there. You got your dynastic codes. So again, it's just got all the rules that you would need to play with the Necrons, which is pretty exciting here. Prime reanimation protocols here. Use this tactic when an injury roll is made for a model from your kill team. Roll additional dice and apply the lowest result. So that's pretty cool. So re-roll, use this, apply the, I guess roll an additional dice and apply the lowest result. I guess it keeps you from being killed, but it doesn't allow you to get the 6s. So, because if the 6 comes up, you wouldn't be able to pop back up. So you don't have that. You do have resurrection protocols. Use this tactic when your leader is taken out of action. Instead of removing the model, place it on its side. At the end of the phase, roll a d6 on a 4+. The model is no longer out of action. Stand the model up again as close as possible to his previous position, but more than 1 inch away from enemy models, with 1 wound remaining. If a model is still on the battlefield at the end of the battle after having been resurrected in this way, it is not considered to have been taken out of action for victory points purposes. You can only use this tactic once per battle for 2 CP. So, yeah, a lot of fun stuff that they've got here, abilities that they've got. You now have access to the Overlord, the Plasmancer, the Psychomancer. You've got the Chronomancer, which just came out with this, with this box here. You've got the Royal Warden. So at the beginning of each battle round, the model receives 1 wound, which is living metal, all that fun stuff. Have they taken away? I don't think, maybe they did. Let me see. Maybe they took away that 6+ thing for Necrons. Kill team. Dynastic codes. I don't see anything in here about 6s. Just basically clearing. Maybe it's just in the characters they don't get that. Let me see. Oh yeah. They're in the other ones, reanimation protocols and all of these guys. Oh, my bad. Yeah. So if you roll unmodified roll of a 6, is not taken out of action, does not suffer a flesh wound. Instead is restored to 1 wound remaining with no flesh wounds, which is pretty cool. So yeah, you've got all of that. The Necron Warrior is armed with a Gauss Flayer, but doesn't say it could be. Oh, this model can replace with a Gauss Reaper. So you do have access to the Gauss Reapers now, which is pretty cool. And Kill Team, Lich Guard, and all of these guys. Let's see what the. I want to see what the flayed ones just have the reanimation protocols. Their toughness 4, 3 attacks, which is really brutal, and 1 wound. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. Again, they've got all their weapons profiles here, and then all of their points. So there's a lot less to choose from with the Necrons here than the Space Marines. But yeah, that is the way that they have it. So, boom! That is the rulebook for Kill Team Pariah Nexus. Awesome stuff. I'm really excited to try. I love playing Arena, so I'm really glad that they brought in some match play games that have those secondary features, because it's a lot of fun to be able to do that. It just makes things different. Each game you can play on the same board and just have different armies and play them differently, so you're not kind of getting bored with the same missions, because each mission, just you can choose different secondaries to play with, which is fun. So I'm really glad that they brought that in. I'm wondering if that points towards the way they're going with because there's rumors they've posted on Warhammer community pages and stuff like that, talking about that there's going to be future stuff revealed for Kill Team coming up in the future, and I'm wondering if that's going to be a second edition, bringing in a lot of the secondaries with those cards and stuff like that to be able to play with it, which is a lot of fun. I'm glad that they now have access to allow us to use all of the new cool models that we've had, because I've already got a lot of the stuff for regular 40k, so now I get to use them in Kill Team as well. And I think it's going to be fun to be able to go out there and just, to be awesome shooty machines with the Space Marines, or just being slashing, killing models with the new flayed ones. And the new models look just, chef's kiss. Like beautiful models. They've done an amazing job, and they've been doing an amazing job with the new models. I really like the chonky boys of these heavy intercessors. Like, they are the chonkiest of boys there, and I love that about the Space Marines. I've always loved that about Space Marines. Even like the regular tactical Marines, like before Intercessors, before Primaris Marines were a thing, what I liked a lot about the Space Marines were just that they were like chonky models. They were just like solid models that they built solidly, painted solidly, and they just moved around the table solidly, and I like that. And then when Primaris stuff came out, it was just even chonkier. And then the Gravis armor is the chonkiest of them all, and I like that a lot. And I think it's kind of fun to have some heavy intercessors just like trudging along, just being badasses like that. That's a lot of fun. Plus, those new flayed ones look magnificent. I can't wait to get my hands on building them. There is a lot of fiddly bits. I don't know if you watched the unboxing, but those flayed ones are just made up of a ton of fiddly bits. So it'll be interesting to see me putting them together and painting them. But I think it's going to be some really beautiful stuff. So I'm excited about it, and I think there's some really good things coming here. And I think a lot of the new stuff that they have here for the ultra close confines, the rules that they've changed, like the holding the door closed, the Hodor moments were always fun. But changing, I think, just makes it a little less complicated, a little more streamlined. And so some of the little tweaks and bits, like changing the point blank overwatch, so that it's now after they successfully charge, so you're not doing it beforehand. I think they tried to change a lot of the feel bad moments just to make it a bit more enjoyable for players, which is really cool. The new board looks awesome. The fact that they're trying to play with the markings on the board themselves having in-game effects, I think is super interesting and a really fun way to go forward with this. And I think that this is it's exciting. It's a lot of fun, and I think that this is really great stuff for Kill Team. And I think the new models are going to be great for regular 40k. So there's something in here for everyone. But it's kind of interesting. You do still need the core rulebook. I don't know if they're going to change the rules with the core rulebook going forward with like a second edition, or if they're going to keep the core rules and just expand on things like almost like an expanded annual or something like that. But we'll see what they do going forward. But you do need the core rulebook to play this game. But you don't need elites, which is interesting, because it's got at least if you're going to play with Space Marines or Necrons, you do not need elites. This has got all the stuff in there, and it looked like it's also got a lot of the tactics for them as well. So I don't think even you need, if you're playing those two factions, I don't think you need the Kill Team annual either, which I know is hard to find now. So this allows you to get all of those things without having to go hunt down those books, which I think is probably a sign of what they're doing going forward here, is that they're going to expand. And I don't know if they'll have a box set like this for each of the different factions, but I'm sure they're going to have out just like a book, at least with their information, which will be interesting. So I hope you guys have found this interesting, found this informative, and are as excited as I am for all this. I really am super excited. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed this. I certainly have. I have been Phil, the Glacial Geek, as always. And until next time, stay safe and have fun.